as we settle into that easy pose, I invite you to mute your devices. We're going to take our hands to the belly. Inhale love. Exhale love. Setting our intention today, unconditional love for ourselves and for others. Continuing with our breath. Lots of love in and lots of love out. I invite you just releasing the hands to the knees. We're going to start with some very gentle neck stretches, taking the neck towards the right side. And we're going to take a few moments here and just breathe. Inhale love, exhale love. Now invite you, we're going to start taking the neck over to the left side now. Continuing with that breath, with the intention of unconditional love today. I invite you to take the neck to center, and we're going to start with little nose circles. So just a gentle movement. Follow the circle with the nose. And we're going to do both sides of the neck today. I invite you to switch those nose circles, taking it to the opposite side now. Being mindful of how your body's feeling in this present moment. Taking the body back to our center, finding that comfortable Sukhasana today. I invite you to take an inhale. We're going to open the arms wide to the side of the body, and then we're going to swoop them back below that low spine, clasping those fingers together. A gentle pull up, opening the heart. And we're going to take a few breaths right here. lots of love in and lots of love out. Releasing those hands, I invite you to take the palms to the knees. We're going to begin our Sufi rolls, so be mindful of the movement and the breath here. We're going to take an inhale, and we're going to start taking the body to the right side. Exhale as you circle. Inhale, left and center. Continue that movement. Be mindful of the breath, the body, and the mind. I invite you taking the body back to center. We're now going to start that movement, taking the body to the left, circle, right, and center. Get into your own flow here. Your body movement with the breath. Being mindful of that breath and how the body's feeling in this present moment. I now invite you, taking that body back to that easy pose. Deep breath in as we float those arms high overhead. We're going to take that right hand beside us on the mat and extending left arm over. Inhale, exhale. Taking a few breaths here, letting lots of love in and lots of love out. Inhale, float that body to center, finding that high salute with those hands. Then we're going to take the left hand beside us on the mat and extend that right arm over now. Taking a few breaths in this present moment. Lots of love in and lots of love out. Floating that body to center, we're just going to settle back to that easy pose. Taking the hands to the belly. We're going to take 5 normal breaths here. Inhale love. Exhale love. Feel the love there. So we're going to make a transition. We're going to take that body to our tabletop position. Taking both knees to the mat, hands to the mat. Making those few adjustments. On your inhale, we're going to start opening through that chest, taking that yogi gaze upward. Exhale, chin to the chest, rounding that upper spine, gazing to the front of our mats. Inhale, opening through that chest, taking that yogi gaze upward. Exhale, chin to the chest, rolling the upper spine, gazing to the front of your mat. I invite you to get into your own flow here, your body movement and breath. As we return that body to that strong tabletop position, I invite you, open those knees a little bit wider to the side of your body. We're going to start tucking our toes, and we're going to start lifting the knees and the body away from the mat. Exhaling to that downward facing dog. Feel free to have a slight bend in those knees. Do what feels good to your body here. We're going to start walking those feet closer to the hands. Feel free to have a yoga block. You can even place the hands on that block. And then we're going to slowly roll that body to our strong mountain pose today. We're going to take a few breaths right where we are. Lots of love in and lots of love out. I now invite you, we're going to take those hands, finding that Ananjali Mudra, heart to center chest. And we're going to step that right leg back. You're going to pivot that left foot. We're going to settle to that warrior one here. We're going to float those hands high to the sky. Taking a few breaths right where we are. Breathing in through the nose and out the nose. You can even take the hands to the belly and breathe here. We're going to make our transition as we start opening those arms wide. Inhale. And on that exhale, we're going to settle to that warrior two. Take 3 to 5 breaths. Lots of love in and lots of love out. On your inhale, we're going to take the right hand towards the sky. You can take that left hand cradling the belly as we settle to that reverse warrior. Or you can take the left hand to that upper left leg, your choice here. We're going to take 3 to 5 breaths right where we are. On your inhale, we're going to start making that transition. Open arms wide, settling to that warrior two. Exhale. Inhale. Taking a few breaths here. We're now going to transition, taking those arms towards the sky, settling to that warrior one or your high lunge. You have a choice here. Do what feels good to your body. I now invite you taking those hands on a Jolly Mudra and then just stepping that left foot forward as we settle to that strong mountain pose today. Taking 5 to 8 breaths right where we are. Lots of love in and lots of love out. I now invite you to take a breath in, finding our high salute. And then we're going to find Ananjali Mudra, heart, center, chest with those hands. And we're going to simply step back that right foot, pivoting the right foot, settling to that warrior one, floating hands high overhead here. Taking a few breaths. We're now going to transition as we start turning the upper body, opening those arms wide, settling to that warrior two. I invite you to take a few breaths here. Lots of love in and lots of love out. Take a breath in. We're going to take that left hand towards the sky, settling to our reverse warrior here. Feel free to take the right hand to that tummy, or you can keep the right hand to the upper right leg, your choice. Taking a few breaths. On your inhale, making that transition, open those arms wide. Exhale, find that warrior two. Inhale, exhale. On your inhale, we're going to start turning the upper body forward, floating those hands towards the sky, finding that warrior one. Taking a few breaths. Take those hands, heart, center, chest, Ananjali Mudra, and we're going to step that right foot forward as we settle to that mountain pose. We're going to take 5 to 8 breaths right where we are. Lots of love in and lots of love out. I invite you, we're going to step those feet just a little bit wider now on the mat. Feel free to use any props you may need here. You can have a yoga block just right in front of you. We're going to take an inhale. Start floating those hands high overhead, finding that high salute. When you feel ready, start releasing those hands. Big circle here as you take the hands towards the mat or that yoga block. Exhale. Inhale, find that half lift. And exhale, fold. We're going to take a few breaths right where we are. We're going to keep the left hand on the block, and we're going to take that right hand towards the sky and follow with that yogi gaze here. Taking a few breaths right where we are. We're going to open through that chest and breathe. When you feel ready, taking the right hand to the block now, and we're going to simply switch those sides. So taking the right hand towards the sky, follow with that yogi gaze, and breathe. When you feel ready, I invite you to take left hand to the block. Take an inhale as you find that half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. On your inhale, we're just going to start rolling that body to our strong mountain pose. Rolling the shoulders down away from those ears. Taking a few breaths right where we are. Lots of love in and lots of love out. We're going to be mindful with feet placement. We want them to be about mat width apart here. We're going to practice Malasana, that yogi squat. So be mindful of how your body's feeling throughout the movement. Take a deep breath in, floating hands to the sky. Then we're going to find heart, center, chest on a Jolly Mudra and start sinking those hips closer to the mat. Feel free to have a yoga block, and you can even have a seat on that block. We're going to be here for a while. At least 8 breaths right where we are. Be mindful that you have length from the crown of the head to the pelvic floor, setting on that yoga block or pillow, your choice. Lots of love in and lots of love out. We're just going to make a transition here. If you have those yoga blocks underneath those sit bones, feel free to make that transition, moving them out of the way. And we're going to find our tabletop position. We're going to be a little mindful here, placing the knees a little bit wider, taking a breath in. And on that exhale, sinking those hips to the heels of our feet, we're going to settle to that child's pose. Feel free to use any props you may need for your body comfort here. lots of love in and lots of love out. We're going to take a breath in, rolling that body, finding that tabletop position, making those few adjustments. We're going to take a breath in and start floating that right hand towards the sky. Follow with that yogi gaze. On that exhale, be mindful here as we thread the needle, taking right hand towards that left side. We're going to take 5 breaths right where we are. And now I invite you, making that transition here. Settling back to that tabletop position. We're now going to work that left side. Taking an inhale, floating. Left hand towards the sky. Follow with that gaze. And then exhale, threading that left hand through to the right side. Taking the left temple to the mat. We're going to take 5 to 8 breaths, your choice. Now invite you, start making that transition, finding that tabletop. Take an inhale as you pull through that chest, taking that yogi gaze upward. Exhale, chin to the chest, gazing to the front of that mat. Inhale, open through that chest, lifting the heart, yogi gaze upward. Exhale, chin to the chest, gazing to the front of that mat. I invite you to get into your own flow here, your breath, your body movement. Now I invite you, finding that tabletop position. We're going to make a little transition here as we just find that comfortable seated position on our mats. Feel free to use a yoga block underneath those sit bones for comfort. We're going to take the hands to the belly. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, love. Exhale, love. Feel the love there. Continuing with our breath. I now invite you, we're going to settle to that Baddha Konasana pose. Finding that butterfly, we're going to take the soles of the feet touching, feet a little bit further in front of you. Hands can go to the ankles, or you can take thumbs, index finger in between first and second toes, your choice here. Taking a few moments here, tuning in to the breath, tuning in to the body and how it's feeling today. Feel free to float those knees up and down and imagine that they're the wings on a beautiful butterfly. With each inhale and exhale, let love in and let love out. I now invite you, we're going to settle to our Shavasana pose. We're going to be lying on the left side of our bodies today. So feel free to grab any props you may need for your comfort. I'm going to take a pillow just in between my knees, as well as a yoga block to rest my left temple on. Do what feels good to your body here. You can take those hands to the tummy. Inhale love and exhale love. Feeling the love there. Connecting the breath with how our body's feeling today.